hockey dude. The hockey dude.
Yeah. What's up, hockey fans? How we all doing tonight? Yeah. What a crazy day in the world of hockey, huh? Maybe it's just me. Maybe just because I'm a Flyers fan, but today stings just a little bit. Come on in, let's talk some hockey with the hockey dude. Thank you, Andy. Thank you. I had to get a little bit of a throwback tonight. Changed my setup a little bit, got a new microphone. How does it sound? Does it sound all right, buddy? Hopefully it sounds.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you.
Oh, hearing myself on my own phone, it does sound pretty good. I like the new mic. Trying to get more professional here on my way to trying to become an affiliate. Got my banner showing off my colors behind me. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Before we get started, let me bring up the Hockey Dude blogger. thehockeydude10.blogspot.com, my daily predictions. I believe I went 4-2 last night on my predictions, so I was pretty happy about that. For tonight, obviously the Capitals Flyers game was postponed. Claude Giroux, Travis Sanheim, and somebody else were placed on the COVID protocol list. Unfortunately, this disease is running rampant through the NHL now. It's terrible. I feel bad for the teams. I feel bad for the players that are getting involved in this terrible disease. I feel bad for all of you. As I say every time we bring up COVID, if any of you have been affected by this terrible disease, I apologize to you. I really hope that you get through it stronger and better than you were before. I know that's, wishful thinking, but that's what I'm hoping for you guys. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope for all the best, and screw COVID. Yeah. All right, so in the first game of the night, you got the Florida Panthers versus the Detroit Red Wings. With the way Bobrovsky's played all year, and I'm pretty sure he's starting tonight, I think Detroit actually takes a win on this game. I got the Red Wings beating the Panthers in a shootout, because as long as you go high on Bobrovsky, he can't stop a beach ball. So 4-3 Wings. The Senators are playing the Oilers. Is there anything that could be said about that except for the fact that the Oilers will win 4-1? The Predators, the Lightning. The Predators couldn't beat Curtis McElhinney last night. So tonight they go against Andrei Vasilevsky, which makes me feel that, oh, hey, Tanky, you see my dog in the background? Which makes me feel that they're going to have a harder time winning tonight. I got the Bolts up on the Preds 3-2. Here's what I think is going to be the game of the night. The Dallas Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks. Andy, I'll get to that in a second. I agree with you 100%. I'll get to that in a second. The Dallas Stars and Chicago Blackhawks. I think this is going to be the game of the night. I'm pretty positive Jake Oettinger is playing against the rookie sensation Kevin Lankinen. I actually think that the Hawks pull this one out in overtime, 4-3. It's going to be a great goaltending matchup. I know the score says otherwise, but I think it's going to be a great goaltending matchup. I think you're going to see a lot of big saves in that one. The kids will shine tonight. The Knights and the Ducks. I got the Knights coming out on top 4-2. The Kings at the Sharks. The Sharks at the Kings. I got the Sharks 3-1. And the Jets at the Flames. I got the Jets squeaking this one out 2-1. Yeah, Andy, I'm wearing the shirt too, where they originated from. I should have at least pick them to win. But I think this Lankinen kid has a lot going for him. Tank, upstairs. Go up. Go. Sorry, my dog. Tanky, go upstairs, buddy. Go. Yeah, this kid Lankinen is something else. And I really like him. And I really see him doing big things tonight against Dallas. They're going to have a hard time scoring against him. Yeah, but they're not starting Khudobin. They're sitting him for all these crazy reasons. I know the kid Oettinger's been really good this year. He's like 2-0 or 3-0 or maybe even 4-0. I don't know. A lot of O. I don't know, 4-0, whatever it is. He's been really good, but so has this kid Lankinen. This kid Lankinen has been really good. He's really hot. I like Dallas a lot. I like Dallas a lot to go really far. I just don't see it happening tonight. It doesn't mean anything throughout the rest of the season. I think tonight is a test for them because they may be overlooking the Blackhawks and this kid Lankinen between the pipes, and I think that's a mistake. I don't think that they should be doing that. So, pardon me. I think you'll see a strange outcome tonight, but I think the Hawks come out on top. Yeah, but on to this Bobrovsky and Holtby situation. Man, since Bobrovsky won the Vezina, he's been piss poor. Thanks, Andy. I do what I can. Upstairs. Go. I do what I can, man. I get lucky, obviously, a lot of the time. But yeah, Bobrovsky, since his Vezina, hasn't been the Vezina trophy winner that he was. And Braden Holtby, oh, God, his last two seasons were horrific. Well, this year and last year. This year and last year. Poor Braden Holtby. Poor Canucks. The Canucks got it bad with Demko and Holtby, don't they? I mean, hey, Jose. What's up, buddy? Appreciate you. Thank you. Just checking to see if any more news dropped today in the NHL. What a crazy day. I'm hanging my colors. I'm hanging my colors in disappointment today. I can't believe Ron Hextall is now the general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins, but we'll get into that. Yeah, that's what it is, Andy. It's that eye test. Um, Maybe he's been hung out to dry more times than not. I haven't seen a lot of games that he's played, except for maybe the Canadian games, and he let in some horrible goals. And all season, from the highlights that I try to catch, he's been letting in a lot of horrible goals, man. It's unfortunate because he's a Stanley Cup winning goaltender. He's a Stanley Cup caliber goaltender. He just doesn't have it anymore. It's kind of disappointing, man. It's kind of disappointing to see that happen. Um, well, when Quinn Hughes is a minus 200 on the year so far, I think he's a minus 12, if I'm not mistaken, on the year so far. So that's problematic in itself. So maybe the Canucks need a return of Brian Burke to turn their team around. Speaking of Brian Burke, he's now become the president of hockey operations for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And my beloved Ron Hextall is now the general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penguins fans, you got yourself quite the duo. They're both pretty stubborn. Stay upstairs. No. Don't mind me, my dog. Andy, let me ask you, and Jose, when you get a chance to chime in, let me ask you, what do you guys think of this move for Pittsburgh? I feel like it puts them back into a win now mode. I don't think they have the goaltending to do that, though. No. Up. What do you guys think? I don't think Tristan Jarry and Casey DeSmith are the goaltenders to take Pittsburgh to the promised land. I mean, quite interesting. Because if they fail this season, it's going to be a complete explosion. They're going to blow up Pittsburgh completely. I agree. I see a major retool in the near future. Hextall loves to draft. Yeah, Hextall loves to draft. I can see that too. he is quite the draft savvy general manager, and he did a lot as an assistant GM for the Los Angeles Kings. So no, they can't acquire a goaltender. So I bet you Malkin and Letang both moved out in the offseason. They'll keep Crosby forever, rightfully so, as they should, just like the Flyers should keep Giroux forever, just like the Oilers are going to keep McDavid forever, just like the Ducks are going to keep Getzlaf forever. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. But I don't see Hextall doing that. Unless Burke really gets in his ear and he's chomping at the bit. Well, they're going to have to do that because of this, especially for the expansion draft. I'm telling people I'm live. Thanks, buddy. Throwing it way back in the time. Again, Hextall loves to draft. I don't see them acquiring a goaltender, and I think that's what they really need, along with a few other things like a top line winger. Well, I don't think Brian Burke's going to have a problem showing Malkin and Letang that it's time for them to go, that they need to waive whatever type of no trade or no moving clauses they have. Yeah, Rutherford did a number there, huh? He did a number there. What I want to do while we're talking Hextall and Burke, I want to take a look at the draft picks. I only have knowledge of the Flyers. I didn't research the Kings. Andy, if you're by a computer and you want to find out who Hextall drafted while he was with the Kings, let me know. I didn't have an opportunity to look it up, and it's totally a lost moment in time in my brain, especially after today, especially after the disappointment in today. Listen, I'm happy for the guy. Kudos to you. You landed yourself another general manager gig. Excuse me. You know the sport. You know hockey, and that's fine and dandy all in itself. I'm really happy that happened for you, but I'm just so disappointed that you went with the Penguins. Woof. Woof. Like my dogs. So gross. Oh my God. But let's go through some of Brian Burke's history, since he is now the president of hockey operations for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Berkey's had quite the draft history. Let's go back to his days with the Hartford Whalers back in 1993 when he drafted Chris Pronger. Pronger went on to be one of the defensive defensemen that players want to mimic their game off of. I mean, Chris Pronger was a commodity. Everybody wanted him. Everybody wanted a player like him. So Hartford, the Whale, Brian Burke, Chris Pronger, one of his first ever draft picks, Maybe his first ever draft pick, as a matter of fact. That may be Brian Burke's number one drafted player ever. But then it was a long time. Then it was a long time since he had somebody of relevance. And this somebody didn't come as a singular. It came as a plural. And that was in 99 when he was GM of the Canucks. And he drafted the Sedin twins. Back to back and belly to belly. But yeah, Burke making a name for himself. 6 years apart. First it was Pronger, then it was the Sedin twins. Probably a few in between that I don't know because I don't care to know because they don't matter. I'll give a nod to his next draft pick of merit, if you will. I think that in 2001 when he drafted R.J. Umberger, Umby went on to be a pretty damn good hockey player throughout his career. So you got to tip your cap and give your kudos to Burke for that one. Just trying to catch up with the chat here. Appreciate all you guys being here. Throw in your commentary. Let's hear your despise and disdain or your appreciation and love for Brian Burke. One stubborn MFer, that's for sure. It's going to be the battle of talented hockey minds for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Fair enough, because they were all under Dean Lombardi, although I know he had a lot to do with their minor league affiliation, so I'm pretty sure he had a lot to do with their drafting. But I appreciate you looking, man. Don't even worry about it. I pretty much know his Flyers picks that are of relevancy, so don't even stress it. Well, we'll get to that if we have to at a later date and time, which I can only imagine is going to be a topic of conversation somewhere down the road, especially depending on what happens with the Pittsburgh Penguins, man. Can you imagine just telling Sid, like, hey, man, congratulations on your cups, but here's a bucket of poop, and that's going to be your new line mates. Go shoot pucks at them during practice. Make them worth their time. Well, I got Ryan Kessler in 03. Yeah, Hextall drafted Simmons in 07. There you go. Probably Braden Shen too then. So he drafted Shen and Simmons. Braden Shen's a hell of a hockey player. So is Wayne Simmons. Oh, there you go. Doughty in 08. Wow, we're going back that far for Drew? And for Simmer? And for Shenner? Wow, man. You're dating me, dude. Holy cow. Yeah, Shen in 09. They had some draft. And then Mike Richards for Wayne Simmons and Braden Shen. Thank you very much. Although it didn't win us a cup, it was a lot of fun watching. I missed Richie though. I can't. Whatever. This isn't a Flyers talk. It's gonna be a Flyers talk, but it's gonna be because of Hextall and what he did with Philadelphia. So just to give Penguins fans a little bit of knowledge with what they're getting in a general manager in Ron Hextall. So anyway, back to Burke. Oh, Toffoli in 10. Yeah, because Hextall was assistant GM, and then he became GM, I think, full on in 14 for the Flyers. We'll get to that. We're going to 2003 for Vancouver with Burke. He drafted Ryan Kessler. In 2005, when he was with the Anaheim Ducks, it was Bobby Ryan. Well, those are some major highlights, Andy. Don't you think? Those are 4 top-tier players. Excuse me. Those are 4 players that are still making a name for themselves today. 3 of them in a phenomenal way. I mean, Toffoli's putting up points. Braden Shen's been sensational for St. Louis. Drew Doughty's Drew Doughty. It's unfortunate that the Kings are terrible. They are brutal. Whew. I feel bad for Jonathan Quick. I fully expect you to be right about that, Andy. Active management for the Pens with a direction that is stuck with. The only thing that needs to, let me just get into more of a focus on defense and truculence. Yeah, Andy, 100%. Hextall loves his D-men. That's for sure. The only D-man Burke took was Jake Gardner in 2008 that are of merit. First round picks of merit. And then in 09 with Toronto was Nazem Kadri. Okay? So those are Burke's picks of merit that I remember we said that one of Sedin's his claim to fame, but what about Pronger, man? Pronger's a hell of a draft pick. He's a hell of a hockey player. So what Hextall and Burke are going to bring to the Pittsburgh Penguins? What will Ron Hextall and Brian Burke bring to the Pittsburgh Penguins? Let me give you. Well, let me tell you, Brian Burke's been in the league since 1987. Ron Hextall's been in the league since 1985, but that was as a player first. Burke's been in the league since 87 in some type of capacity. When he was the GM of the Whalers, he actually left the Whalers to become the National Hockey League Vice President and Director of NHL Hockey Ops. It's quite the portion of the resume to have there. What do you say, eh? That's pretty crazy if you ask me. And then he's just been around the league. The Whale, the Flames, the Leafs, the Ducks, the Canucks, and now the Pittsburgh Penguins. I see him to be a lot more like Shanahan. I think that's going to be all Hextall's doing. You'll see him when warranted, and I'm sure he'll rear his drunken head. Yo, is the guy drunk? Like, I don't mean to talk crap about him. Please, by all means, I'm not. But the guy looks sloshed in every draft that I've ever seen him at. He's got everything unbuttoned. He's red as a tomato. Does he booze it up? Is he a boozer? Brian Burke, do you like to shoot him back? Are you down in that Molson Triple X? I don't even know what you guys drink north of the border anymore. I know down here it's all this IPA crap. I shouldn't say that because people love it. But I shouldn't say IPA crap. These people love it, so. Andy, you pose a good question. Is Brian Burke respected in a similar stance to Lou Lamoriello? I think they're on two different levels. More of like we described goaltenders. Lamoriello would be the 1A and Burke would be the 1B. You know what I mean? Mike Sullivan is the coach of the Penguins. And if they don't start playing like the Penguins are known to, I'm pretty sure he'll be on the hot seat. Back to Burke and Lamoriello. What do you think? I think that it's a 1A, 1B. I think Lamoriello leads the way, and Berkey's right behind him. I know I said that I think they're on different levels, but maybe in that regard, maybe that's what I'm trying to pour out of my poor mouth. I was a light beer guy. I was more of a shooter. I like my whiskey, so haven't had a drink in about 10 years. It's been a long time. I'm lying. I have a beer here and there, but I haven't actually Haven't drank like I used to. I was in a band, and those days were crazy. Those days were crazy. A lot of boozing, a lot of Seagram 7, a lot of Jameson, a lot of Crown Royale. Oh, oh, oh man. All right, that's another story for another time. So let me give you Penguins fans that aren't familiar because of your hatred of the Philadelphia Flyers a little taste of what Ron Hextall does as a drafter. Um, Andy wonderfully did his due diligence and did me a big favor and let me know that while Hextall was with the Kings, they drafted Wayne Simmons, Drew Doughty, Braden Shen, and Tyler Toffoli. Indeed, we are, Andy. Indeed, we are. Uh, Hextall for the Flyers. In 2014, Hextall had quite a draft. He picked Travis Sanheim. I believe it was 17th overall. He picked Nicholas Aube-Kubel. He picked Mark Friedman and Oscar Lindblom. He picked Oscar Lindblom like somewhere in the 130s overall. So that was quite the 14 draft. In 15, in the first round alone, he got Ivan Provorov and Travis Konechny. In 16, in the second round, he nabbed Carter Hart. And then somewhere in the early hundreds, he grabbed Connor Bunnaman. Connor Bunnaman's been playing on the fourth line, on a solid fourth line presence in the absence of Sean Couturier. But now that Coots is back, Bunny took a back seat to that. In 2017, he lucked out, or was he unlucky with the draft lottery, drafting second and picking Nolan Patrick. And then we got Morgan Frost later in that first round. So Hextall has a track record of drafting really, really, really well. You know, when you get a guy like Carter Hart at 48, and you get a guy like Oscar Lindblom somewhere in the 130s. Yeah, he moved up to get Konechny, but he had the arsenal to do it. He stockpiled, man. I know what you meant, dude. And he's going to do the same thing for Pittsburgh, man. He's going to stockpile draft picks for 2-3 years down the road. This year's entry draft coming up, if there is one, it's weak. It's very weak. So he's going to do things for the later, as he did with Philadelphia. He just can't be as patient as he was in Philadelphia. If someone's ready to come up, bring him up. Everybody said, oh, Carter Hart isn't ready for the bigs. Carter Hart was ready for the bigs. Yeah, he's struggling a little bit this year, but his defense is also leaving him hanging out to dry. So he has to lose a little bit of that patience. He has to be able to push the button to call someone up maybe a little bit earlier than he feels is when it's right to do. Oh, no. Neither of these guys are going to be scared to make, never mind the move, a move. I could see big things coming for Pittsburgh out of Hexie and Burke. This is a phenomenal day for that franchise. You know, and you got Mario to... What's up, Jose? So we were just going through the draft picks of Brian Burke and Ron Hextall and letting Penguins fans know what they're in store for. Andy asked a question earlier about, is Burke as respected as Lamoriello around the league? I called it a 1A, 1B situation. He agreed. You think the egos are too much? I don't see Hextall with an ego. What do you think it's going to be, Jose? Why won't they coexist? It can't be like the Avengers calling upon everybody in the comic books. It's going to be more like a DC versus Marvel, unable to coexist type of story. Is that what you're saying? It's not going to be the rise of Wakanda in Pittsburgh. Is that what you're saying? So Jose says before Toronto, Burke was respected, but I don't think they were ever a 1A, 1B with Lou. Okay. Zucker, Rust, and Gensel would make a lot of playoff teams' top nines look really nice. But these guys are playing top line and top 6 minutes, man. That right there. But, okay, so if they are on the block, then how is it fair that Hextall says that they're in a win now mode? Because Hextall blatantly came out today and said, hey, we're in a win now mode. We want the cup this year. And then we'll reassess the team and evaluate things next year. Right, Jose. Burke has that mentality, 100%. Win now. We could do it. Let's bring in all the gritty, grizzled vets. Let's bring in all the big-time names and go for it now, where Hextall's like, oh, I could trade this guy for a second and a third and package those for a first in the following year, and boom, 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 boom. But I think that Burke and Hextall... Let's trade 2 firsts and a second for Phil Kessel. Okay, fair enough. But I think maybe Burke's learned his lesson from these moves. Well, that you can't. And if that's the case, then Pittsburgh's screwed, and Hextall will be walking out of that city in a year and a half. It's a process right now. It's a wait and see. Exactly. Well, we're gonna have to wait and see. I personally feel that they all sat down before Hextall had his second interview, whether it was last night or today. And maybe they came across, maybe Hexy told Burke, like, hey, listen, man, we have all of this salary locked into, 3 or 4 guys. It's not going to cut it. It's not enough to win a cup. Let's reassess. Let's retool. Let's go on the 4-year plan. Let's come back to trying to win a cup in a couple years, where we could build around Sid through the draft and through trading guys like Malkin and Letang and Dumoulin and Gensel and Rust and Zucker and getting draft picks and younger players. Hextall has the mind of a scout. Hextall has a mind of a very powerful scout, if you ask me. Can't find my drink. Well, he's the president of hockey operations, for whatever that means. So now, forgive my ignorance. Right. So does Hextall report to Burke and then Burke to Mario? Or does Hextall report directly to Mario? Or does Mario say, here, it's your team, do as you will, let's win a cup. Let's bring back pride and glory to Pittsburgh like you haven't had enough of it. Oh, I'm sorry, that's just the Flyer fan in me coming out. It's a sad day. It's a day of remembrance for all Hextall did for us as a player and as an assistant GM and as a GM. Couldn't agree more, Jose. If Ron Hextall reports to Brian Burke, then Brian Burke should have just been named the general manager and Hexy the assistant GM, or the associate general manager, as they call Chris Drury in New York. It all will rear its ugly head this offseason or around the trade deadline. Because I can see it now, if Pittsburgh's a bubble team? Is that when their heads are going to butt? Is that when Burke says, give it to me now? What do you think, Tortorella's on the hot seat? I think they love him in Columbus. Hey, Patrick Liney, guess what? You don't want to skate back? You don't want to skate 200 feet? Sit down, you're not playing anymore. No, Jose, I totally assumed that's what you meant, brother. Off topic for a minute. Can you guys believe Tortorella already? Pierre-Luc Dubois, as he would be called Dubois here in the States, but Pierre-Luc Dubois hasn't even played a game with Winnipeg yet. And Patrick Laney has already been benched for a period and a half. Thank you, John Tortorella. Perfect, Jose. So, regarding Brian Burke and his title of President of Hockey Operations, when you're the President of Hockey Operations, you should solely be the money and cap guy. Make sure that all deals fit in the cap structure. And, oh, yeah. Yeah, good point with Burke. That's what he should be. Hextall should have the green light to do everything else. As far as trading between Canadian and American teams, between visas and quarantine, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how these deals pan out. And if anybody learned anything from the PLD Patrick Liney trade. It's definitely going to make for an interesting scenario as teams really try to load up to make that final push for the playoffs, to get into the dance, to play in the tournament, to make it to the cup. That's going to be quite an interesting scenario. One that's going to be really fun to observe. Interdivision trades. That's just, when we had that show earlier, when we did that stream a couple weeks ago with like the most ridiculous interdivision trades, it may not be something out of the realm of possibility. I still don't see it happening. Maybe in the Canadian division. All right. So let's say the Leafs trade for Chris Letang. You're waiting 2 weeks to get him? Buyers in the North? Fair enough, Jose. Buyers in the North, Montreal, Toronto, maybe Winnipeg. No, Winnipeg made their move, I think. Oh, no, maybe if they buy, they could use some help on the back end. Yeah, Toronto and Montreal are definitely going to buy. Montreal probably wants to add some grit up front. Well, that's another thing, boys. The other thing I see is I see a lot of moves being made way before the trade deadline. Yeah, GMs are going to do. GMs are going to make sure that they are savvy enough to wiggle their way out of cap space and make it happen. Oops, you're making $3 million. You're stuck on the third or fourth line. You just got an injury. There you go. Robodiah Island, anyone? There you go, Jose. Touche. Touche. Who wants him? If you're a National Hockey League general manager Andy, Jose, are you taking a risk with Tony D'Angelo and that $4.6 million cap hit? Oh, I love Loops. I thought he was awesome with Philadelphia. Are we really taking? I don't think the Rangers will eat. Yeah, but yeah, exactly, Andy. Yeah, teams did want Avery, Jose, but was Avery I guess he was as much of a head case. I wish the Sharks would give up Carlson to us. Yeah, he was. He was. Yeah, he was. I'm not going to downplay it. I was trying to look for a reason to give Avery um, a pass compared to D'Angelo, but I guess he was just as bad. Steve Downey, another kid that was a head case, all the talent in the world, and his mind-boggling ways just took that talent and threw it in a bag, and that was the end of it. And there's a few more around the league, but we don't need to get into that. Oh man, I forgot about that, Jose. That's funny. It's funny. Maybe he did it for. No, he definitely didn't. He didn't do it for comedy. He did it because he's a real d bag. Yeah, yeah, you are correct, sir. You are 100% correct on that. Oh my God. Sloppy seconds. Man, kudos to you. Father of two girls. I give you a stick tap, bud. A deserving one. And you have time to talk hockey with me. I love you, buddy. Oh yeah, that's right, Andy. I know that there's children involved. I just can never remember the genders. Say that 3 times fast. Woof. Well, Pittsburgh fans, I wish you the best. I hope that Burke and Hextall can coexist. Jose doesn't think so. Me and Andy feel like we're on the fence about it. I think it's going to be a good thing. It's a somber moment. It's a sad day in Philadelphia, or in my case, in New York. I hung my flyer colors behind me as a thank you to Ron Hextall for Carter Hart, Travis Konechny, Ivan Provorov, Travis Sanheim, and Knack. I think my daughter would do it herself, but she's also 16. So, so I agree, Jose. No, Chuck Fletcher's been the GM since Hextall got canned. Chuck Fletcher. Pittsburgh, you did done good today. I hope you're on a happy day. He sure did, Jose. And listen, I'm happy that he's the GM here. He's also patient. He doesn't make He doesn't make panic moves, which I like. And listen, if what he said is any foreshadowing, and he can get Matt Niskanen back out of retirement, the Flyers will be a different team. Because Provorov will be a different player. The locker room will be different. They'll be a different team. But I digress. This isn't a Flyer show. No. The patience did not come from Pops. My lack of patience came from my Pops, though. That's for damn sure. But yeah, as I was saying, Pittsburgh, you got yourself a duo. Now you just got to make sure they could do it together. Hextall can't be a puppet to Brian Burke. Brian Burke needs to pay attention to hockey operations outside of roster management that doesn't involve caps and clauses. Rosters are set. Andy, what sim league are you in that I'm not involved with? Is there an opening? Because I want in. Jose, I'm going to double check my D-Generation X roster right now, just to make sure. Looks like we're good. I even made sure to pull Brian Elliott and get Marc-Andre Fleury in there. Jose, just a side note, did you get to the gas station? Oh, you're still there? Didn't I bring you over there? All right, cool, Jose. Thank you. Appreciate you for that. Be keeping an eye on NHL.com all night. Oh, you raped him. Oh, you raped him. That's a good move. I wish we could do a move like that in our leagues. Like me and you, together. Jordan Binnington. Actually, Robin Leonard had a shutout for me the other day. I'm real happy about that. I got to see today's sim. Or if he did it already, tomorrow's sim. No, man. Provy and Point. Provy and Point? Dude, you're set, man. We're talking sim league hockey right now. I wish we can get the CEHL GMs to jump in. I do a whole sim league. I do a whole stream around the simulated league. We could all talk about it as outside of the group chat. Be a lot of fun. But gentlemen, you have families to attend to, you have dinners to eat, and you got hockey to get ready for. To everyone lurking in the background, I want to thank you for being here. I hope to one day pull you into the chat. It'd be a lot of fun to have more opinions involved in the chat room. Jose, thank you so much for joining in, man. I appreciate your opinions and your insight. It's always respected, and you're an awesome person. Andy, the same goes for you. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your insight and your opinions. It makes for a great chat, and I'm glad that I have you guys here to do it with. I hope we can get more people involved to make the chat even more interesting and a lot more fun. But in time, good things come to those who wait, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Enjoy your nights. Enjoy your time with your family. Good luck and good hockey, boys. On that note, peace.